Yes guys, welcome to another video, and for today's video the topic of discussion is going to be, are steroids ruining the fitness culture? This has been a topic and a debate for decades and decades and decades now. So we're going to discuss it today, break it down and give you my opinion as well. So I do know a few people who take anabolic steroids and also peptides as well. First of all, it starts off, what is your purpose and reasoning behind taking them? A lot of peptides these days, they're actually there to help. So my phone's buzzing, let me turn that off. That's pull from me. But anyway, back to the topic. Most people take them to just get bigger. And I think that's where the main problem lies, that people are taking and abusing these steroids just from an aesthetical standpoint. They just want it for the looks, basically. And I think this is very damaging let's start off breaking it down. It's damaging for the person doing it. It is, if you look at the lifespan of some of those steroids is much shorter. They get to a certain size where, not that it looks ridiculous, some people do look ridiculous with it, is the truth. But, they're so big, they can't even walk through doors and stuff. And I think that quality of life is just far from what anything I would want and far from anything I would advise, because it's not healthy and it hasn't put you in a better position from where you were before you took them. Most people who do take steroids have been in the gym before and they're probably not happy with where their progress is at. They feel like they're stuck in their progress. And that's why they have then decided to use the anabolics. And yeah, extremely damaging to their body. There's so many risks. You hear about the influencers, I forgot his name, but there's more than one who have passed away at a young age, and they take a lot of this substance. In terms of peptides for someone, I think it's difficult to say at this current moment, because I know they're kind of different. There's not as much research into peptides, but it feels like they are more sustainable for health, and they actually have health benefits. It's basically like a diet on steroids is what I see it as. Not that I wouldn't take it because I don't know everything about it. There's not enough research about it for me, and I feel like you can get everything you need from your diet. So that's a bit of a different one. And then if we're looking at the damage it causes on the people around the environment, someone taking steroids is clearly going to be in better shape than someone who's not, just based on that's what it's there for, isn't it? Unless they just didn't do any training. But come on, they've got to do some sort of exercise, and it sets very unrealistic standards, especially with the Olympia. You've got people like Chris Bumstead, who looks like a Greek god, and these physiques are not attainable naturally. They're not attainable naturally whatsoever. So people looking at that and thinking that they can, and I think it's damaging younger people's mindsets of their own perception of their own physique, because they are comparing themselves to people who have trained for 10 times the amount of time and taken these steroids. So it's not a realistic role model to have, and for young people, it's gonna keep them searching and trying to reach this level, and it will probably become an unhealthy obsession, and it will probably lead to some sorts of potential mental health issues, body dysmorphia being the big one, and that could lead further down the line to other things which are even worse, and cause a lot of mental stress for someone who maybe feel like they're not enough, or they're not reaching the standards set by society, by these role models. And this is going to damage a lot of people's mindsets, the way they think. And that's going to spread and spread and spread. And unfortunately, that is the truth as it comes to that. And yeah, it's not a healthy obsession to be. I've been there. I've absolutely been there when I've had, extreme body dysmorphia, hated my body. And even in some like right now, I don't look big in this lighting. I just look like I look pretty small, pretty skinny. Obviously, in good lighting, I think I'm pretty big. But yeah, as someone who's been through body dysmorphia, it's mentally it led to other things certainly, and it led me down a path of not being good enough and basically worrying about what other people think all the time. And then this leads into other things of your life as well. For example, actually, I don't need to talk about other examples, but what I mean is that it affects other aspects of your life, the way you think about yourself, and that always will. The way that you think other people view you, and the way you view yourself, they're both, things that can affect you massively, whether you think positively or negatively. And I think that these negative role models, they give that negative perception. But the big but here is I think a lot of these people are now becoming, it's more socially accepted to be taking steroids. And a lot of people are becoming more honest. And this is where there is that contradiction, where it can be seen as potentially a good thing because they're very honest, they're very transparent, a lot of them, and they're still helping. They still work extremely hard whilst doing these things, which is obviously good as a positive role model, and that can be seen in the good light of the benefits of having someone on social media who does take these, because they can talk about the risks, they can talk about how it's affected them physically, mentally, any problems they've gone through. Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be people out there who want to take it and who are going to take it. So having someone who can actually educate people on the risks, the side effects, anything that could potentially happen, and that's definitely a positive, for the people who want to take the steroids. However, I don't know. I would never agree with the steroids. I just don't think it's good for you. So for me, my point of view, it's hard to see them as positive role models because it's like you're making good of the bad thing, and I just don't think that's good. But it's difficult. It is a difficult one, that's for sure. That is for sure. I think you have to take it more at base value, I think. Let's have a look at Chris Bumstead, for example. He eats very good, very healthy food. He trains very hard. He's got a good family. From what we see on social media, he's a very nice man. And this is a good, positive role model for people. And this is what people need to see. Whereas then you have people like Clavicular, who takes, I don't know if he takes steroids as such, but I know he takes some sort of peptide or anabolic steroid. And he's out partying, doing drugs, banging a bunch of girls. And this is a very negative view he's given off to young people watching. And because he has a good physique, because of the drugs he's taking, it then makes people think that they don't have to work hard and they can just take this drug and then get into shape. And that's where it becomes very dangerous. And that's where you will see a lot of issues with taking the drugs. There's also people who are potentially good and bad. For example, Sam Sulek. I made a video on him before, and he takes steroids. He's very open and transparent about that. He's obviously in very good shape, well, aesthetic wise. There's always an argument about how physically fit they are, health wise, how healthy are they actually. But anyway, I've seen videos of his diet sometimes, and his diet sucks. It absolutely sucks. It may have improved recently. I don't watch his content a lot, if I'm being very honest. And yeah, so that's a mix, because yes, he trains hard, yes, he is disciplined, but because his diet isn't good, that's negatively affecting people's perception on what they should be eating to get into good health, get into good shape. Someone who I have consumed some content from recently is, what's his name again? Larry Wheels. Is that his name? Yeah, Larry Wheels. And obviously he takes anabolic steroids, but he's basically realized recently that he's not healthy. He's very, very strong, and he's got, he's got big muscles. To say it simply, he's got massive muscles, he's got a great physique, but he then he couldn't run, couldn't skip, he couldn't box, and he realized that his body's not healthy. So he's been spending a lot of time, wrestling, boxing. I think they're the main two. That he's taken a big interest in martial arts, and this is obviously great for his health. That balance of strength training whilst also training that's good for your cardiovascular health, which is, I would argue, more important than your strength capabilities. So he's one that I really respect recently, that he's posting good content. There's a few dodgy videos, which every content creator has those. But yeah, there's so many people out there who take steroids. They have a different route of social media, why they're famous, why they're not. And I think maybe I'm overanalyzing it from someone in the health and fitness industry of what value they're actually giving to the people watching, how they're actually affecting the person watching and what they are thinking. For me, I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't bother me. People will consume the content they want to consume, and they will take, tips from people that they want to take tips from. If that's what they're going to do, that's what they're going to do. It has had a massive influence on health and fitness industry, that's for sure. Absolutely. I think the biggest problem with it all is the people who take steroids and then lie about taking it, saying they're natural. There's so many people out there who do that. And they lie about it. And the problem with that is then, like I was saying earlier, about what people then believe to be naturally attainable. These physiques are not naturally attainable, like I said. And someone's saying that they are, and that their body is natural. They're lying, and they're messing with their viewers' brains, damaging. So I can't agree with that at all. I can't agree with that. Can't get along with that, no. So that is a bit disappointing. But yeah, that's basically the topic covered mostly. There's not much more detail I'd go into about anything else. I would just say be very careful of the content you're consuming from people who do these, because people will promote it like clavicular. They'll promote you to do it. Don't. Please don't. If you're serious about your health, don't. But at the end of the day, it's your decision of what content you watch. Like I said, you're watching this video now, so you're taking tips from me. Someone could probably analyse me and tell you why not to take tips from me. I dare someone to do it. I'm not big enough for that, but yeah. So that is the video covered. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment and subscribe.